You can't even have confidence that when you take your car to the mechanic or anything that it's going to be done right. That you're going to pay an inflated price for everything, from food to auto maintenance to everything. And this is just fiat money, as Gerald says. It's fiat. It's fugazi money. It's worthless. We're to the point where $100 now spends like $10, and these tea parties and will spring up more across the country, and there's more revolutions coming.
Well, we agree. We're also forecasting that by 2012, we believe that there's going to be a new third party, one with major traction. A lack of a better term, we're calling it progressive libertarian. Progressive in terms of many of the things that are on Coast to Coast and the people that talk on the show about natural healing and those kind of quality of life issues, organic, the better progressive issues, and taking care of those who really need help. And libertarian in the sense that we don't need government to tell us how to live. The other issue that's overriding that needs to be addressed is this issue that we believe of, and as the caller mentioned, people ripping off other people at every level. And why not? You're seeing it from the top down, from the Goldman Sachs schemes and the Wall Street thieves, all the way down to the petty thief, down to the people that are having children, knowing they'll never be able to take care of them, but they're going to live off the system. The nation has lost its morality. And speaking for myself, in my moral code, we are fighting a war in Iraq that has been proven to be fought over faults. Whether or not they knew it is another issue that should be found out, in my belief. But there were no weapons of mass destruction. There were no ties to Al-Qaeda. And in my belief, in living in this type of immorality at so many different levels, from Wall Street to Washington to Main Street to the people that are ripping off the system, we cannot move forward as a nation and succeed unless we bring our morality to the level it should be at.
And there doesn't seem to be any end to it, Gerald. It's going to go on and on and on.
I don't believe so. I think just as the Black Plague ended with a renaissance, and a renaissance, of course, is a return to the past, an appreciation of the past. They said in Italy at the height of the Renaissance, alle Romana e alla Antica, in the manner of the Romans and the ancients. And the same thing with America. Main Street, not Wall Street. Mom and pops, not Walmarts. Family farms, not agribusiness. We need a renaissance in this nation, and that's what we're working toward.
Back to the phones we go. Let's go to Muncie, Indiana. First-time caller. Hey, Dave, thanks. Go ahead.
Hi, Gerald. Hi, George.
Hi.
My question is, with all of these corporate and state powers merging together and all this stuff being shoved down our throats, where is the incentive for the American people to even go to work anymore?
Well, that's exactly what happens. That's why when you go and deal with the bureaucrats or go to a Walmart or wherever, people really don't care a lot about what they're doing because that they know that the ladder to success has no rungs above where they're at. And that's what happens when a country, when the gap between the rich and the poor rises as a rate as it is now, and where there's no incentive like in the former Soviet Union. And again, the merger of state and corporate powers. Communism, fascism, what it's not is American-style democracy, so you're 100% right.
Next up, Don in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's your turn. Go ahead, Don.
Hey, George. Long-time listener since about 1993. Great to talk to you.
Great. Thanks for being with us so long.
And I enjoy the guest always. I wanted to ask the guest, I believe that one of the reasons that we shipped a lot of manufacturing over to China was that we wanted to engage them economically versus militarily, that if they had a stake in the world economy, be less likely to attack us. So I believe it was a larger security issue. But I think that as the yuan has risen, the dollar has fallen, I think it's time to bring back manufacturing to this country. And I just don't see the incentives that the government is giving out for people to start their own businesses, start their own manufacturing plants. I believe that this country should at least make their own sneakers, make their own tires, and I wanted to get your opinions on that and
sure
see what's ahead in the future for U.S.
I would guess, Gerald Celente, you'd be all in favor of that.
Yes, Steve, where I would disagree. It wasn't about military. China doesn't have that kind of strength. Their defense budget is a fraction of ours. We outgun them, outman them in so many different ways. They did it because of profit. And again, we only look at the facts. When NAFTA and World Trade began, they said that our job situation would improve at home. Domestically, we would have better paying jobs and higher quality jobs. The opposite has happened. The issue is doing business over there. It's cheap labor markets, pure and simple. Corporations make more money by shipping the product here. The incentive on the commodity-priced items and sneakers, et cetera, is one issue. The other issue is how the government is killing entrepreneurialism by the taxes. For example, in studies that we're doing and we're seeing, the companies that are putting out leading-edge components, machinery, you name it, they are the prices, the wage levels. For instance, in Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, Korea, for similar jobs, that's not where they're getting hit. It's pretty equal in that area. Where they're getting hit is the government is taxing them and regulating them out of business.
When will they get GM stock back to the public? At what point do you think they'll be able to raise enough money where the public buys more GM stock?
I don't think it's going to happen. They're bringing back. They're trumpeting. They brought back this guy Lutz. So he's another genius. He ran General Motors from about 2001, I believe, to about 2006 or 7. And he is the guy that said in 2005, as oil prices began to rise, that anyone who thinks that high oil prices are going to hurt SUV sales is wrong. Oh. They don't know what they're talking about. This is the genius they're bringing back, and a bunch more like him.
Maggie in New York, New York. You're up with us. Good morning, Maggie.
Hello. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm really glad. I just wanted to speak to Mr. Celente and tell him how much I agree with him about the breakdown of any kind of rules of human relations or decency to each other in this country. It scares me to death. I have never seen anything like it.
It's everywhere, Maggie. It's everywhere.
Well,
maybe
it is, but it's frightening. I don't know if you know any Yiddish, Mr. Celente. There's a word, paskudniak. What this means is a person who has absolutely no boundaries or scruples of any kind and will simply do anything they can get away with. And I'm looking, especially in the government, I'm looking at Paskudniak America.
Yeah, and Wall Street. The greed, it's insatiable.
It's everywhere. Gerald, you only got about 30 seconds left. What's new with TrendsResearch.com?
Well, we're working on the autumn issue of the Trends Journal, and we just published the summer not too long ago. And what we're saying is that by 2012, that the rest of the world is going to be gripped in the midst of the greatest depression. In America, they're going to call it Obamageddon. Clearly, the policies that have ruined the country have been long in the making and with successive administrations. But what's going on in this administration with the schemes, the bailouts, the buyouts, the printing phantom money out of thin air, the nation is going to be bankrupt and destroyed unless there's a new third-party movement that changes it from the two-headed one-party system.
Next week, I think Tuesday, I'm interviewing Ron Paul, who's going to be talking about the Federal Reserve. And make sure you're all part of that. Gerald, thank you. I'll be